Well, hi. Welcome back. Welcome back to the football. It's here. The preseason's over. The season starts on Thursday with my very own Chiefs. I'm excited. It's been too long. The wait between the end of the UFL season and the beginning of the NFL season was painful. Truly painful. But we're here. We've survived. We've made it to the NFL regular season. And I am thrilled. And since I only started doing all my football coverage around the end of the regular season last year, I never got to do any kind of overview, any sort of preview, predictions for the season. I did predict some of the playoff game outcomes, but I never got to predict the season from the start. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be fun. I have predicted every game outcome. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can see who I believe is going to win every single game this season. Most of them are probably going to be wrong. Maybe not. Maybe I'm a genius. Maybe I'm the next coming of Mel Kiper. Well, anyway, I did all that, and through that, I got a comprehensive ranking of all 32 teams in the NFL by conference. So 1 through 16 for seeding in each conference. I'm going to give you the rundown of what I think each team's finish is going to be, how I think they're going to do, what's going to happen as a team, and yeah. Now, there are a couple ground rules. These are my opinions. My opinions are infallible. They're correct. If the season doesn't go this way, then football's bad and you should feel bad. Yeah, I'm right. I'm the smartest, best football analyst who knows so much about the X's and O's. Obviously, I've played so much football. Look at me. So I'm going to be correct. All of my opinions are correct. You can't tell me I'm wrong because you're wrong. Yeah. With all that out of the way, let's go bit by bit. So first things first, who do I have making the playoffs? A very good question. My picks for the AFC, first and foremost, are the Ravens keep the 1 seed. They do not falter. The Chiefs move up to the 2, where they belong. The Texans grab the 3. They move up a little. And listen, I know. Just don't click away. Don't listen. I know, it's the New York Jets. It's the New York Jets. We'll get there. I promise you. I have my reasons. Just hold on. And then the wild cards are going to be the Bengals are the 5 seed. I think Joe Burrow is going to do pretty well. I'll go through all that later, though. The Browns and the Colts. I think the Colts are going to improve this year. The NFC, I have the Rams are the 1 seed. The Eagles are the 2. The Packers are the 3. The Bucks are the 4. The Niners are the 5. The Lions are the 6. The Vikings are the 7. I know. Some weird and wacky predictions. But I think, even if you don't agree with my predictions, I hope that by the end of this, you will at least understand why I came to the conclusions that I did. So let's break this down by division. The AFC East, first and foremost, the Jets. Stay with me, okay? Don't panic. It's going to be okay. Rodgers does not need to play like an MVP for them to make the playoffs. He just has to be fine. The Jets have not had fine quarterback play since maybe Sanchez, maybe even Pennington. So fine would be a major change for the New York Jets. I think if he plays fine, they're going to be fine. They've got a great defense. They've got some great pieces. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. They have a shot. Now, granted, I have them finishing 9-8, but that's because the Dolphins and the Bills both miss the playoffs. Ah, I know. The Dolphins are going to be the 10 seed. The Bills are going to be the 11. The Dolphins, I said, I'm not convinced they have a different shtick. They'll come in hot. get injured and lose steam just in time to miss the playoffs. They've done this again and again. Sometimes they even make the playoffs, but they come in hot. They win a couple games early that look really good, and then the injuries pile up. They get slowed down by the cold, by the toll that the injuries take on their players, and then, without fail, they collapse completely and utterly. The difference between them putting up 70 points on the Broncos and just getting completely just halted in their tracks by the Chiefs in January, it's stark. And it does not give me the impression of a team that has championship DNA. The Bills, on the other hand, Allen is amazing, but one player does not a great team make. I think the Diggs trade is going to do more harm than good. A lot of Bills fans are excited. I understand. He's a lot of drama. I get it. However, he is one of the best receivers they've had in recent years. And I think losing him is going to do more damage than they expect. McDermott is going to start losing people just as the Super Bowl window's closing. I think, respectfully, last year was probably the last good year for them to make the Super Bowl. I think now McDermott's shtick is going to start wearing pretty thin when there are not a lot of results to show for it. I think people, especially in the locker room, are going to start getting real tired of him. And I don't think that's really their fault. He seems interesting. And the Patriots I have at 15. I think Mayo might do very well. I don't think it's going to matter. I have no illusions they'll be good. Mayo needs time to find his footing, and given the state of things, he'll need a few years to right the ship. The team is in a state, and I don't think one season is enough for him to completely fix everything. I think he might show promise. There will be flashes, certainly, especially if we can get some good play out of Drake May. Didn't mean to rhyme there. But the Patriots need help, and they need it bad. And I think Mayo might be the guy to give them that help, but it's not this year. That's how I feel. Now, the AFC North, the Ravens are the 1 seed. As I said, Lamar played well enough to win MVP last year. I think that speaks volumes. And now they're giving him Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the league. They have even more options on the ground. I think their ground game is going to be dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Harbaugh needs to get out of his own way, is the number one thing. We saw this in the AFC Championship last year. They played so well in the playoffs. They played lights out against Houston. And then when it got to the second half of the AFC Championship, they started passing so much, which is not Lamar's strength. I don't know why. I don't know why they deviated from their plan so mightily, but it cost them dearly. They could have, and for all intents and purposes, probably should have made that Super Bowl. They shot themselves in the foot, is what they did. But I think they can get there. Harbaugh just has to stop outsmarting himself. And I think he can do it. He's done it before. But will he? Remains to be seen. The Bengals. Their success hinges on Burrow staying healthy. This has been shown multiple years now. His health is the team's health. But I think he manages it this year. I think he stays healthy. And I think the Bengals make the playoffs. I even think they get pretty far, but we'll get there. The Bengals are not a perfect team by any stretch. Zach Taylor's offense is their O-line is but I think they're going to do just well enough to get themselves one of those wild card spots. Similar to the Browns. I don't know why they let Joe Flacco go. Does not make any sense to me. Watson will disappoint, and it won't matter because the rest of the team is so good, and Stefanski is an amazing coach. I don't see Watson having a breakout year at all. There's no way. I don't see it. They got rid of Flacco, and they're relying on Jameis Winston to be the backup. Be so real. Be so fucking for real. You went through 4 quarterbacks last season. 4. And you're counting on Jameis Winston to be the guy if Watson gets injured. Okay, sure. Sure, Cleveland. We're just stocking up on sex offenders. Good. Love it. But I think Stefanski is a very good head coach. And I think he's got the ability to get them to the playoffs in spite of that. I mean, he did it last year. with 4 different starters. I think it's possible. The Steelers, I have as the 8. They are just going to miss the playoffs. Neither Wilson nor Fields inspire much confidence in me, especially after seeing them in the preseason. And I think Tomlin is not going to do enough to make significant improvements in their play. Now, I think they're going to do okay. They're not going to be awful. They're going to barely miss the playoffs. But it's going to be more of the same. I don't see much changing. They're going to be fine, like they have been for the last decade. But they're not going to be great. And that's not a great place to be. AFC South. The Texans. Texans. 3 seed. Stroud will likely regress, as often happens. But I think Ryans' ability to turn this franchise around makes me think their improvement will only continue. They got Stephon Diggs. Their receiver room is stacked. The fact that they've got Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins all on the same offense, it's going to be dangerous. I'm really interested to see Stroud this year, after all the hype around his freshman season. I don't think he'll play as well, but if he can play slightly less good and still manage to find ways to pull out wins, I think that's going to speak a lot. That speaks volumes to me. I think the Texans are going to do very well. The Colts are the 7 seed. They're going to make the playoffs. They barely missed last year, and that was without Anthony Richardson. I think Shane Steichen is a very good coach. They've got Richardson healthy now. Hopefully he stays that way. I really hope so. I want to see him play more. I have faith in Steichen. I think he can do it. Do I think they're going to win a playoff game? No. But can they make the playoffs? 100%. They've got the team. They just have to do it. They have to execute. And the execution was where they fell short last year. It was not the talent. And that's how I feel. The Jaguars, I have as the 13 seed. Their collapse does not inspire confidence. Their late season collapse last year was insane. There's no other way to put it. They had an almost 99.9% chance of making the playoffs in the middle of the season, and they missed them entirely. I don't know how that happens. I don't. I think this will be a regression and may prompt a soft rebuild. I don't think they're going to tear the entire building down, but I think it might be time after this season for them to move some pieces. I think Lawrence will be okay, but I don't see this being a good year for the Jaguars. I just don't. The Titans, similarly, I have as the 16 in the AFC because someone has to be last. They're going to suck, and that's okay. Callahan needs time to get his hands dirty, and Levis needs more reps. I think Will Levis will get better as the season goes on, but not better enough to completely turn it around. They're going to be bad, and that's okay. It's Callahan's first year. It's Levis's first full year as a starter, and they'll get draft picks. They will get what they need to build. Levis will get more experience. Callahan will get experience as a head coach. They'll have draft picks. This feels like a suck now to be better later season for Tennessee. And that's okay. Nothing to be sad about. That's just how it goes. I think they're going to be a much better team next year. I think they're going to suck this year. And that's fine. And the AFC West, the Chiefs are the 2 seed. Our one major weakness was wide receivers last year. We had a lot of difficulties, and we have done our best to address it. Now, Marquise Brown got injured in the preseason. Not great. But we just got Juju Smith-Schuster back. We got rid of Tony. We've got Xavier Worthy now. I think our receiving core looks a lot sharper. Now, losing L'Jarius Sneed, that is going to be a harder sell for me. But I think we're going to be okay. The question is, how much of an improvement is this receiver core? That's what remains to be seen. I think it will be a significant improvement, but I can truly see it going either way. The Raiders are the 9 seed, also just narrowly missing the playoffs. Pierce is going to struggle a bit at first. Naturally, it's his first full year as a head coach. But he will get there. 9-8 with a coach the players like beats 8-9 when they're miserable. And it's much better for the future. They're only going to get one more win this year. But this 9-8 is going to be, there's going to be a chasm between this year and last year. One more win doesn't seem like much, but the culture, I think, is going to be a major difference. And I think it's going to give them something to build on. They're just going to be okay this year, but I think the players are going to be much happier. They're going to want to fight, and that, to me, screams winning culture. They just need another good draft or two to really seal the deal. The Chargers, I have at 12. Harbaugh's brilliant, but I don't think he's going to get them to the playoffs in one season. The Chargers are, yes, they have a lot of talent, but they are also a team that loves to just step on their own toes again and again and again. But 4 more wins from last year, which is what I have them winning, is nothing to lose sleep over. That's a significant improvement. I think they're going to win 4 more games than they did in 2023. And I think that's great. They missed the playoffs, sure. But they've shown that they can improve significantly. And I think that means a lot. And then the Broncos, I have at 14. I just could not convince myself they're going to be significantly better. Nix needs time to develop, and he's just not going to get it. He's going to get thrown to the wolves immediately. The team is going to struggle, and it won't be his fault, but he'll get the blame anyway, as so many quarterbacks do. It's not going to be his fault. He won't get any time to develop, but they're going to blame it all on him. They're going to lay it all on his shoulders like they did Paxton Lynch, like they did Drew Lock, like they did Russell Wilson, again and again and again and again. Okay, maybe it was Paxton Lynch's fault, but that's neither here nor there. They're not going to be good. And I think Sean Payton is just going to get more and more miserly as the season progresses. Now, as for the NFC, here are my thoughts. The NFC East, the Eagles. I think last year was a bit of a fluke. I really do. I think getting rid of Matt Patricia is truly going to help them more than it's going to hurt them, because Matt Patricia is Matt Patricia. Losing Kelsey is the biggest loss, truly, for this team. But I think they could still manage to be pretty solid. I do. I think Sirianni got a lot of shit last year, and rightfully so, but I think he has an ability to adjust. This is kind of a make or break year for him, for sure, and I think he's going to make. And the Cowboys are going to be the 8 in the NFC. They're going to just miss. I said they're going to be struggling against good teams, and they play a lot of those, because they had a really good season last year until the playoffs, as per usual. The NFC's very top-heavy, has been for years now, and I just don't think there's room at the top for them anymore. I just don't. I think they are going to be tantalizingly close to making the playoffs, and they're just going to miss them. The Giants. Daniel Jones is not the guy. He's not. Tommy DeVito's not the guy. He's good. I like him. He's fun. But he's not the guy. Try as he might, Dable cannot change that. And they'll be in a rut as long as that is the case. As long as Jones is the starter, they're going to be in a rut. I understand they gave him a big old QB contract. They shouldn't have. And they want to get the most out of it. I think they already have. I don't think there is more to get out of it. He's just not very good. He just isn't. I think they need to move on. And I think until they do, Dable is going to have this ball and chain dragging his team down, which is too bad, because Dable's pretty good. Giants are the 9, to be clear, and the Commanders are 16. They are last. I think Dan Quinn needs more than a year. I think people are being a little hard on Quinn before he's even begun. I get that he himself is not the best, especially offensive mind, but he knows how to hire coordinators. He got Shanahan for a reason. He knew. He saw something in him. And I think if he gets a great offensive mind like Shanahan, the Commanders could be good. But it's not going to be this year. The Commanders' organization has been in a major state of dysfunction for a long-ass time. And I don't think it all gets fixed in one season. There's just no way. The team can't fix itself in one off season, and this is going to be a major down year. And it sucks, especially for Jaden Daniels, but I just don't think he's going to get to show too much off this year. The NFC North. Packers are going to be the 3. I said they turned it around after a tough start. They turned it around after a tough start, and I don't think there will be a tough start. I think they're going to start off a lot better than they did last year. I mean, they had a losing record for a while. I don't think it's going to get that bad this time. I don't. I think Love is going to improve. I think the team is going to improve. And I think LaFleur is a smart enough coach to very much improve the team. I said the Lions will be the 6. They might struggle a bit at times, but this team believes in themselves. And that means a hell of a lot. Goff was quietly one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. They made the NFC Championship For the first time in over 30 years. Only the second time in the franchise's history that has ever happened. They won 2 playoff games in one season when they had won 1 playoff game in the last 50 years. That cannot be overstated. This team is special. And in fact, we'll get to this later, I think this is the year they make their first Super Bowl. I know. It's the Detroit Lions. But just hang in there. I said the Vikings are the 7. Even without McCarthy, I think O'Connell has a solid enough foundation to take this team pretty damn far. I think Darnold has a pretty good season. Not mind-blowing, but fine. Perfectly fine. He steers the ship without much issue. Obviously, they still got JJ as one of the best receivers. Justin Jefferson, not JJ McCarthy. Now that's going to be really confusing when I refer to him as JJ. Well, I think O'Connell is a very smart coach. I think he can take this team pretty far. Honestly, I do. I don't think they're going to get much further than making the playoffs, but I still think that's a pretty solid accomplishment. And the Bears are going to be 15th. Williams may indeed prove himself to be the guy, but he can only redeem Eberflus so much. I think Eberflus is gone after this season. I do. He's not good. He's not a good head coach. And that's just a fact. I think Williams is going to show flashes, and he's going to be held back by Eberflus. And the organization will realize that, get rid of Eberflus, and try to get him a head coach that highlights his strengths more. Will they succeed? Different question. But that's how I feel. The NFC South. This is where I'm going to deviate from a lot of people. I think the Bucs are going to win the division. I do. I think people are talking up the Falcons way too damn much. I have the Bucs at the 4 seed, like last year. People aren't giving Bowles enough credit. People are real fucking hard on Todd Bowles. And I get it. I understand, especially for his time with the Jets, especially for how he wasted the ends of Brady's career. I get it. However, he won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield against the Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce. I mean, listen, I said that the Eagles' season last year was a bit of a fluke, but I don't think the Bucs beating them was. The Bucs played that playoff game really, really well. They even hung in it with the Lions. The Bucs are not a bad team. And I don't understand why people are acting like they're suddenly going to just be trash this year. It does not make any sense to me. Baker is proving himself to be a solid quarterback, as I had already suspected him to be. And like many people knew him to be, but popular opinion was against him for whatever reason. I don't know. I just feel like they're going to do well. The Saints I have as the 11th seed. Carr isn't bad. I truly think he's not as awful as people are acting like he is. But he's not the answer, and neither is Dennis Allen. They're in a rut with no clear path out. They're stuck in mediocrity, and they don't really have a clear direction to go to escape. I don't have much else to say. The Falcons I have as the 13. I think it's crazy how many folks think they'll win the division. No way. I don't see it. I don't see it. I just don't. Make no mistake, this is a rebuilding year. I really think so. I think Cousins is despite his paycheck, I think he's a bridge quarterback. I think Penix doesn't play very much this year. I think they're not very good, and Cousins keeps things afloat for a little while, and then they just unceremoniously give him the axe. Unfortunate, because I like Kirk Cousins, but I think that. I really do think so. And now, why would they give him such a big quarterback contract if that was the case? You'll have to take that up with Arthur Blank, who, obviously, like he said, no one else can do this as good as him. So, he's a genius. Ooh. And the Panthers are going to be last. Again, number 16. One new head coach does not a winning culture make. Canales may turn it around eventually, but not yet. As long as he's got Tepper breathing down his damn neck, which he will, because that's how Tepper works, they're not going to be very good. I could see Bryce Young improving, getting a little more experience, but this year is not the year for them to be great. Even good. Even okay. They're going to be terrible, but they might show signs of starting to settle. We'll see. NFC West. The Rams are the 1 seed. I know. Losing Aaron Donald is big, but not enough to prevent their success. The fact that they made the playoffs 1 year after going 5-12 and almost won that playoff game against the Lions, they got damn close, is amazing, and I think it'll keep improving. They've got a great young receiver in Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp maybe back in better shape. We've got Stafford still playing pretty damn well considering his age. I just have a gut feeling. That's not where my gut is. I just have a gut feeling about the Rams. I don't know why, but I do. I just do. The Niners are the 5 seed. Shanahan done did it again regarding the Super Bowl and losing with a big lead. I see players' confidence starting to decline, but they'll remain a firm contender for now. I think this is where their window really starts to close, and I don't think they capitalize. I don't. The Seahawks are the 10 seed. Geno regressed last year. He had an amazing 2022. He regressed, understandably so. I just don't think... I said he'll do fine, but not enough to elevate them. McDonald's going to need time to build a culture. And I just think they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. But they're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. They need more time to build a solid foundation. And that's okay. You know, that's fine. Give them another draft, some other free agents next year. I think they can do great things. And number 12 are the Cardinals. I think they go 4-13 for a third year in a row. 4-13 streak continues. Gannon is capable. It's just that they're stuck in an incredibly competitive division and are just okay. Now, listen, 4-13 looks really bad. I think they are better than their record will indicate. I think they're going to be okay. They're just going to lose a lot. Often, probably in a lot of very close games. They just don't, I don't know. I don't have faith in the Cardinals. I think Kyler might have a great year, but other than that, I just don't see it. Now, regarding the playoffs. So the wild card round, obviously the Ravens are the 1 seed. They will have the bye in the AFC. The Bengals and the Jets will play in New York, and the Bengals will win. I think probably pretty handily. Browns, Texans, rematch in Houston yet again, and once again, Houston wins. Basically the new version of the Texans-Bengals double feature that we had in the early 2010s with Andy Dalton. Chiefs-Colts at Arrowhead. The Colts might put up a solid fight, but I just don't think it'll be enough. They need more time to turn into a real contender. But the fact that they will make the playoffs and be competitive will be a pretty good, notch in Steichen's belt. The NFC. The Rams have the bye. The Niners will play the Bucks in Tampa. And I think the Niners will win, though the Bucks will put up a fight. I think they will. The Lions will play the Packers in Lambeau. Boy, that'll be a fun game, I bet. And the Lions will win, which, Jesus Christ, Lions fans will be insufferable for a bit. But, I mean, they deserve to be. They're allowed to be. They've had so many years of losing to the Packers. I think they've earned being insufferable for a bit. And the Vikings will play the Eagles in Philly. I think the Vikings are not going to pull this out. I think they will make the playoffs, and they will probably get smoked a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, the fact that they turned it around from last year and have an injured star and will still make it, that's still pretty amazing. The divisional round. The Texans play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That is a game I could see going either way. Truly. I really do feel this way. These last couple games are very close, I think. But I think the Chiefs win. I do. By a little. By a very thin margin, probably. The Bengals play the Ravens in Baltimore. And I think the Bengals do win. With a healthy Burrow, I think they can do it. If Burrow is banged up by then, I don't think so. But right now, I'm feeling like the Bengals got it. The Niners play the Eagles in Philly. And I think the Niners get their revenge for 2022. I think they do. Especially if Purdy is healthy compared to the last time when he got injured right away. And then, a rematch. Lions-Rams, yet again, this time in LA. But I think the Lions do it again. I think the Lions beat them again. I do. I really do. Which means we have some not as exciting matchups in the AFC and NFC championships. We've seen these before. Chiefs-Bengals in Arrowhead. I think the Chiefs do it. But again, like all of our AFC championships against them, it'll be by the skin of our fucking teeth. And then the NFC championship, Lions-Niners in San Francisco. I think the Lions barely edged them out this time. Barely. And finally, make their first Super Bowl, where they lose to the Chiefs, probably because of some ticky-tacky penalty. We love to do it. We really love to do it. And that's the year. The Chiefs three-peat. Probably everybody on Earth talks about how they got gifted it by the refs, and maybe they do. It's possible. I'm not going to dispute that we've gotten very lucky with some calls. And that's the year. Again, I will put a link to all my predictions in the description so you can see just how much of an idiot I am after like week 3, maybe even after week 1. Maybe I've gotten every game I've predicted will go the complete opposite way. Maybe the Commanders play the Broncos in the Super Bowl. I don't know. What a world we'd be living in. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Enjoy this season. I'm very excited. I hope the Chiefs can three-peat, but I know it's going to be incredibly difficult trying to do it. We'll just have to wait and see. So, enjoy this season. Enjoy what it has in store for us. Hopefully, all the quarterbacks stay healthy this year, or at least most of them. Please. Please. And, go Chiefs. Yeah. Have a good night.